look forward to doing so again. In partnership with the government of Qatar, we have launched the US-Qatar Business Culture Series during the Qatar-US Year of Culture. So now here and across the 10 cities that Qatar Airways flies to, we look forward to programming. I'm also delighted to say that Steve Lutz, Vice President for Middle East, and Liz Clark from the US Chamber have joined us, as have our 3 co-chairs of the council, ConocoPhillips, ExxonMobil, and Inventor Spa, and also our partner and affiliate on the ground, the American Chamber of Commerce in Qatar, AmCham Qatar. Also want to thank our sponsor of today's event, GE. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Ambassador Holtz. But in the interest of time, before doing so, let me also just say a few words about His Excellency Akbar Al Baker, the CEO, who over the last 20 years, since becoming CEO of Qatar Air in 1997, has built it into a global airline spanning 130 destinations in 6 continents. A private pilot license holder himself, he also heads up Hamad International Airport, Qatar Aviation, Qatar Duty Free, and others. So with that, let me turn it over to Ambassador Holtz and then to His Excellency.
Thank you very much, Kush. Good morning or good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you to the whole team at the Chamber, particularly Steve and Liz, for convening these timely quality events. I am very honored to give brief remarks today in advance of a business icon, a force of nature unto himself, and a dear friend, Qatar Airways CEO Akbar Al Baker. The wide array of U.S. companies gathered on this platform today across so many industry sectors is a reflection of the close collaboration and deep partnership that exists between the U.S. and Qatar. Our private sector partnership with Qatar is emblematic of our shared value for innovation, and the diversity of our industry's collaboration with Qatar Airways is exemplary. The U.S. and our allies have long stressed that a truly united Gulf will bring added prosperity to the GCC and its partners through the free flow of goods and services across the region. We are closely tracking the GCC rapprochement, and we are very glad to see that these political and economic ties are being rebuilt. Our commercial ties with Qatar have greatly deepened in the recent years. I see these bonds continuing to strengthen as world-class U.S. companies stand ready to partner with Qatar in delivering the FIFA World Cup 2022 and achieving its ambitious goals outlined in Qatar's National Vision 2030. From ICT to education, healthcare, oil and gas, green technologies, food security, and countless other sectors, U.S. firms are here to support Qatar and to create the jobs of the future with our trademark, American innovation and sustainability. Specific to today's topic, the COVID-19 pandemic has dramatically impacted the global aviation, travel and tourism, and hospitality sectors. Qatar Airways has done an amazing, commendable job of continuing its passenger and cargo service in the wake of the pandemic, assisting thousands of Americans in returning home and serving as a vital logistics provider for trade. We are grateful to Qatar for all that it has done to move people and goods across the globe despite the epic challenges of this unprecedented epidemic. As vaccination rates increase worldwide, and in particular in Qatar and in the US, we look forward to the future of all these sectors that we have worked so hard with Qatar on. So today's event provides an opportunity not only to celebrate our partnership to date, but to explore ways together with you in which we can continue to build both the US and Qatari economies by supporting two-way travel and tourism. I'm going to skip over most of the rest of my remarks and really want to get to Akbar and then to the Q&A session, but I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge our amazing commercial officer, Megan Schildland, with whom I'm sure most of you are very familiar. She's our senior U.S. commercial officer at the embassy, and I encourage all of you to maintain close contact with her as we go along. And I would like to also finally congratulate Akbar on his personal achievements in building Qatar Airways, and I look very much forward to your remarks. Thank you and stay healthy, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, distinguished friends, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, I would request if everybody could mute their mic so that we don't get a reflection of my speech. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar as part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's Business Culture Series during the U.S. Qatar Year of Culture. I would like to express my special appreciation to Her Excellency the Ambassador, as well as to Steve Lutz, Vice President of Middle East Affairs, and his team at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event. I'm very honored to have the opportunity to be with you today and to provide you with a glimpse of Qatar Airways relations and engagement with the United States, as well as a brief of our current standing around the world. Bilateral relations between your great country, United States, and Qatar has always been friendly and built on mutual trust. It is a relationship that serves the interest of both nations, as well as the greater good of global and regional peace. As a demonstration of a strong and friendly relationship, I would like to take you back to July 2019. On 18th of July 2019, I attended a meeting in the White House with the former US President and some CEOs of US carriers and specialized agencies and the team responsible for aviation affairs at the White House. During this meeting, I presented a comprehensive briefing of compelling facts to challenge some alleged claims in Qatar Airways. I am happy to report that the era of mistrust and intense lobbying against us is over. The July trip was also the last time His Highness the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, visited the United States. His Highness the Emir's visit served to strengthen even further the robust and long-standing partnership between the United States and Qatar, including our extensive economic and security ties. During His Highness's visit to the White House, Qatar Airways made agreements with US companies to spend billions of dollars on aeroplanes and jet engines. Some of these agreements involved Qatar Airways purchasing Boeing 777 freighters and large cabin aircraft from Gulfstream Aerospace, and all officially signed for in a ceremony at the White House on the 9th of July 2019. We are very pleased with our long-term relationship with Boeing Commercial Airplanes, and our orders are all a demonstration of our long commitment to the US technology and manufacturing. You may be surprised to know that Qatar Airways currently sources almost 51% of its fleet from Boeing, and our Qatar executive fleet is dominated by Gulfstream aircraft. We currently operate over 120 Boeing passenger and freighter aircraft with an estimated value of over $40 billion. Qatar Airways is also the launch customer of the Boeing 777X aircraft and is actively working with Boeing on the design and performance specification for this new aircraft type. We also signed a multiple agreement with General Electric Engines, which was part of our ambitious plan for the future. And we are delighted to have selected GE as a partner as we embark on this journey. Our aircraft and engine purchases have been and continue to heavily support the creation of sustainability in jobs in the United States through American manufacturing companies and many other US-based suppliers, including a lot of manufacturers that have continuously supplied products and services to Hamad International Airport, which I also manage. But the partnership with the United States goes well beyond our relationship with Boeing. For example, this past January, we expanded our network with the launch of flights to Seattle, the home of Boeing. Seattle marks our airline's 11th US gateway after the successful launch of flights to San Francisco in December of last year. These new services have been received with great fanfare and appreciation by both San Francisco and Seattle airports and local authorities, as we anticipated a long and successful relationship with both cities. With the resumption of flights to Atlanta next June, our US network will reach 12 destinations, connecting onwards to hundreds of American cities through a strategic partnership with Alaskan, American Airlines, JetBlue, and Cape Air. American Airlines is now Qatar Airways' largest partner worldwide, which speaks volumes about the importance of US operation and partnership for us. I'm glad to report that our current US network has already surpassed the number of destinations we used to operate pre-COVID-19, keeping in mind that we were the only international carrier that kept on launching new destinations during the pandemic when others shrunk their network. Our passengers traveling to and from United States can enjoy seamless connections via the best airport in the Middle East, Hamad International Airport, with the widest network of destinations in Africa, Asia Pacific, Asia, and the Middle East. Qatar Airways has always been positively engaged with US authorities, and we will continue to support job creation and greater consumer choice for all Americans. As part of our engagements and with a view to ensure equal opportunity to compete amongst all players in the market, the Open Skies Air Transport Agreement between the United States and Qatar was ratified by the United States in July of last year. And with this milestone, we now have an aviation agreement in effect. As a leading global connector, as of March 2021, Qatar Airways operates over 900 weekly flights to more than 130 destinations, with plans to increase to over 140 destinations during the summer season of this year. Our network expansion has also supported by the recent overflight resumption across our nearby countries. On the environment and sustainability initiatives, I would like to mention that Qatar Airways operates the most modern and fuel-efficient fleet amongst legacy carriers. As part of the One World Alliance, we have committed to net zero emission goal by 2050. In this forum, I would like to reiterate our position of the utmost importance of the environment and climate change, which is shared responsibility between airlines, manufacturers, and regulators in order to reach a common goal of decarbonization of the industry. Today, more than ever, the aviation industry continues to show great levels of resilience in the face of the current adversity and disruption created by the COVID-19 pandemic. I remain positive as our industry continues to work towards the restart of international air transport and the recovery from the impact of COVID-19 on a coordinated global basis, with the health, safety, and security of the traveling public as our top concern. During these challenging times, we have been demonstrating our commitment towards our customers in a host of ways, like our continued repatriation effort, including American nationals and residents who were stranded in different points across the globe. During the pandemic, we have taken home over 3.7 million passengers and worked closely with governments and companies around the world to operate over 550 charters and extra sector flights. Our efforts provided a lifeline to those in certain industries, such as seafarers, with the airline repatriating over 230,000 of them. Qatar Airways repatriation work saw the airline fly to destination not previously part of our network. In terms of our corporate social responsibility efforts, in 2020, our focus was on COVID-19 relief as well as emergency aid. At the outset of the COVID-19 pandemic, Qatar Airways Cargo sent 5 freighters to China, carrying approximately 300 tons of medical supplies donated by the airline to support coronavirus relief efforts. Additionally, in an acknowledgement of gratitude to those who have played key roles throughout the pandemic, Qatar Airways awarded 100,000 complimentary return tickets to healthcare workers and 21,000 teachers around the world who committed themselves for the service of the public. To support the people of Lebanon and Sudan following tragic disasters in these countries, Qatar Airways partnered with Qatar Charity and Monopoly Qatar to deliver an aid program that enables citizens and residents of Qatar to donate almost 200 tons of food and other essential supplies and transport them on Qatar Airways freighters. Again, you should be proud to hear they were all on Boeing freighters, powered by General Electric. Qatar Airways Cargo has prioritized aid and medical supply shipments, whilst also offering a discount on market rates to transport these essential supplies on our flights. We have also worked hard to process refunds requested and paid out over $1.65 billion in refunds, both between March 2020 and August 2020, despite cash conservation being a #1 priority. The resumption of air travel is a vital prerequisite to global recovery from the economic devastation shaped by the pandemic. As the largest airline flying consistently throughout the pandemic, we have accumulated unrivaled experience of how to safely and reliably carry passengers during these uncertain times. We have implemented the highest possible hygiene standards across our state-of-the-art fleet, many with advanced HEPA air filtration systems on board our airplanes. This includes regular cleaning and disinfection in line with recommendations from IATA and the World Health Organization. Qatar Airways stringently implemented the most advanced safety and hygiene measures, including the provision of personal protective equipment for our cabin crew and a complimentary protective kit and disposable face shields for passengers. We were the first international carrier, and I believe the only one that was providing face shields to protect our passengers in an aeroplane, including wearing masks. Additionally, among other enhanced measures, the airline was the first international carrier to deploy Honeywell's ultraviolet cabin system, operated by Qatar Aviation Services, a subsidiary company, further advancing its hygiene measures on board our aircraft. As a result of our efforts and in a demonstration of our commitment, Qatar Airways is the first global airline in the world to achieve the prestigious 5-star COVID-19 airline safety rating by the International Air Transport Rating Organization, Skytrax. Qatar Airways follows Hamad International Airport, Qatar Airways Hub, success as the first airport in the Middle East and Asia to be awarded a Skytrax 5-star COVID-19 airport safety rating. Qatar Airways recently achieved the diamond standard in the global Apex health safety powered by Simply Flying COVID-19 audit. These recognitions provided assurance to passengers across the world that airline health and safety standards are subject to the highest possible standards of professionalism, independent scrutiny, and assessment. In addition, Qatar Airways is working with the Qatar Ministry of Public Health to administer 1,000 vaccines for its employees per day. 20% of our employees are already vaccinated, and before the end of this month, our entire population of nearly 37,000 employees would have been vaccinated. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on global air transport is without precedent. I encourage all states to consider harmonized mitigation measures to reduce public health risk to air passengers and aviation workers while strengthening confidence among the public, similar to what Qatar Airways is committed to. This includes the harmonization of passenger testing protocols, which will be a key to restoration of public confidence and a sustained and effective recovery of the air transport sector, which is such an important and vital industry in our lives and for commerce. These measures will assist airlines' efforts to accelerate demand for air travel, which has been heavily impacted by COVID-19, while we all work together for the common objective to safely enable air travel and support economic recovery and growth. As per a recent IATA report, deep industry losses will continue in 2021, even though performance is expected to improve over the period of the forecast. Based on IATA's latest forecast, global passenger traffic revenue passenger kilometer, or RPK, will not return to pre-COVID-19 levels until 2024, a year later than previously projected, which I agree will happen. Passenger numbers are expected to rise 62% in 2021 off the depressed 2020 base, but still will be down almost 30% compared to 2019. I still think that these figures are over-optimistic. We need to get borders safely reopened without quarantine so that people will fly again. And with airlines expected to bleed cash at least until the fourth quarter of 2021, there is no time to lose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Al Baker. I know this event is open to the media. We have several journalists, so I hope they capture all of the good that Qatar Airways has done in leading the aviation industry during this crisis period. I think a crisis shows true character, which Qatar Airways has demonstrated, and also the strong support for the American business. We later have a panel with Honeywell, GE, and Boeing. But in addition to that, not just their own ecosystems, but also so many other American companies that Qatar Airways and its subsidiaries work with. And I know we have two hands already raised for questions. I'll get to them first. First is John Murchison from Blackpoint Cyber. We asked the questions to be brief, but also tell us the context. John?
Thank you, Kush, and thank you, Mr. Al Baker, for taking the time to chat with us. My question, obviously the pandemic has caused a lot of disruptions and revenue challenges to a lot of industries, and probably airlines one of the worst. How are you guys able to leverage, technology and maybe IT communications to navigate, this challenging time?
Qatar Airways already deploys a huge amount of IT systems and processes, and actually we are leaders in a lot of them, which other airlines today are using Qatar Airways technology for improving the services and the systems that they run their airline on. We see that IT for the future playing a more important and very extensive role in everything we do in the airline. In this, we are already investing millions of dollars every year in order to streamline our IT systems and processes to become more and more efficient every day.
Excellent, thank you.
Our next question is from Mr. Dominic Giannetti, the head of ExxonMobil in Qatar and also a co-chair of our council.
Yes, good afternoon. This is, as you said, this is Dominic with ExxonMobil. First, I just want to say, Your Excellency, congratulations on your dedication to sustaining vital air transportation during the last year during the COVID crisis. Personally, and as a business leader, I've used Qatar Airways to transport people and goods when no other carriers were available. So I don't know how we would have managed without Qatar Airways sustaining this vital pathway to transportation. And also congratulations for your strong relationship with multiple U.S. businesses, as you described very well, and for your exemplary sustainability standards, really leading the way for the industry when it comes to sustainability goals and execution. My question is around the future with with the reputation that Qatar Airways has been able to build and expand during COVID, and also expanding business in some areas like heavy transportation. What opportunities do you see as the economic situation globally improves, as COVID abates? What opportunities do you see for further expansion of the Qatar Airways business, and in particular with U.S. businesses?
I want to first thank you for the compliments you have bestowed on me and Qatar Airways. I always tell everybody that I am only here a soldier of my country to serve whichever best way I can and to uphold the reputation of my country, which is always present when any country or any region requires help. It was my duty to serve our passengers and the traveling public who were not passengers of Qatar Airways, or in most of the cases had never ever traveled Qatar Airways. So what we did during the pandemic was a huge assistance to get people home to their loved ones, but most importantly to show to the world that Qatar and Qatar Airways are very resilient. We demonstrated to our passengers, one, that we are reliable. Secondly, that for any reason that they cannot travel with us for pandemic or otherwise, their money is guaranteed with us. And this is why we gave out in the first 6 months more than $1.65 billion US worth of refunds. What is very important in this, that Qatar Airways established itself very strongly as an airline that is completely available to the passengers, even during the most difficult time. And as you can see, our commitment to the United States, that we added 2 new destinations in the middle of the pandemic and have served the United States very successfully, and the largest connector of people of United States to the globe. It has also made Qatar Airways very strong, and we are now positioned as an airline to come out of this pandemic extremely strong. And the potential for our growth is huge for 2 things. One, many of the airlines have already gone under and will continue to go under unless they get state aid and state subsidy, like most of the airlines have got now, who were in the past complaining about us that we were getting state aid and state subsidy, which actually, and everybody knows that, every educated person knows that it was an equity injected into a state-owned company. So what in brief I would like to state is that Qatar Airways post-pandemic will be one of the top airlines in the world.
It's well noted. I know we have only about 2 minutes of your time left on a very busy day, so I'll try to squeeze 2 more questions in. First, with our Vice Chair, newest Vice Chair from Adelphi Capital and Inventors Power, Tom Donahue Jr., and then I think we have a reporter from Bloomberg. But Tom?
Hi, thank you, Kush, and thank you, Mr. Al Baker. It's good to see you again. I wanted to, first of all, thank you for all the help you've given to Inventus, which is a joint venture with the Free Zone, and we carry batteries around, and on short notice you were on your cargo side quite helpful in getting us batteries into Qatar for a demonstration for the Minister of Defense, which is not the easiest thing. So thank you for that. And I wanted to turn for a minute to a little bit more in the future, but another hat you wear. Can you tell us how you're doing with the airport as the major hub for 2022 and what changes you expect and how that's all coming? Is I know you guys have put a huge amount of time and energy into that, and it's a great honor for the country to host the event, and I'm sure you'll get it better than anybody else, but you might spend a minute talking to us about the airport and what role that's going to play in 2022.
Tom, nice to see you on the screen. What I would like to state very quickly is that Hamad International is very advanced already in the expansion to cater for the huge rush that we will have during FIFA 2022. The expansion is also on the western side of the runway, which will hugely increase additional aircraft parking spaces. And in order to cater for a huge influx of chartered flights in already a very busy scheduled airline airport, we have started work to renovate and reactivate the old airport, which is just 5 kilometers to the west of Hamad International. So totally, we would have a huge capacity increase to efficiently and smoothly connect all the passengers that will be coming to watch the FIFA games in 2022.
Congratulations on that. And for the record, Akbar, I'm doing my part to get your revenue up. I'll be on a flight Friday night from DC to Doha, so we look forward to being back on your airline. It's a great honor. So thank you.
It will be our pleasure to carry you.
Thank you.
Mr. Al Baker, we are at our allocated time. Do you have just 2 minutes more for a question from Bloomberg and Abbott, or
I have another
we'll wrap it up?
I have another 5 minutes, so I'm available.
Thank you so much. We'll go first to Layan O'Day from Bloomberg.
Thank you, Mr. Al Baker. I just wanted to ask, when do you expect to take delivery of the first 777X? And will Qatar Airways be the launch customer? Also, are you in talks with Boeing around introducing a 777X freighter? And lastly, are you happy with the GE 9X engine performance in hot conditions, or are you pushing for improvements? Thank you.
We will take the 777X whenever it is ready. As soon as it is ready, I think Boeing has already notified us that there will be a delay on the delivery of those aircraft until 2023. So in the year 2023, we will receive our first 3 777X aircraft. As far as the freighter is concerned, we don't know about it. They have not launched it officially. And when they notify us that they are going to launch a freighter version of the 777X, we will definitely be interested to look into it. Because by the time any new launch of a program by Boeing or Airbus will be in time when we are requiring to start replacing our 777 aircraft with modern, state-of-the-art, fuel-efficient aircraft. And you had the third question was about
the GE 9X, the GE 9X engine performance in hot conditions. Did it meet your expectations, or are you pushing for improvements?
Well, we are constantly pushing for improvement by engine manufacturers. The current engines we operate and the future engines that we will be getting. It's very important because engine, of course, without the engine, the airplane is not going to fly. And with the engine, and being an airline that is keeping a very close watch on emissions, we always are looking for improvements. And I would also recommend that GE get into a future technology engine sooner than later, because we have all, through IATA, committed for a carbon neutral growth in 2050. when you look at how long things take to develop, 2050 is not very far away. So I recommend that Mr. Koleilat, who is attending here from GE, takes this message very seriously. And it is very easy for people to blame airlines for emission, but we depend on aircraft manufacturers and engine manufacturers and fuel producers to deliver the technology to us so that we then can invest in those new technologies and fly our aeroplanes more efficiently and with the least effect on our environment.
Okay, so lastly, do you expect to be the launch customer for the 777X?
Well, let's see, because I don't know, the aircraft is still on the drawing board. I need to see the figures, I need to see the performance, and most importantly, I need to see the price. So I hope Boeing is hearing me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Al Baker.
We do have a Boeing representative on the call, and I'm sure, and for our panel, and they'll hear. And our very last question would be to a different type of company, Abbott, I believe, Hani Hansa.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. Before I start, I would like to thank the U.S. Chamber, Steve, Coach, and Liz, and the U.S. Embassy, Charge d'Affaires, and Megan, and Your Excellency, Msal Khair. Thank you very much, Mr. Akbar, for the briefing, and let me congratulate you and Qatar to manage very well the whole situation of COVID. Quick introduction, my name is Hani Hansa. I'm the Government Affairs Director for Abbott. Abbott is a healthcare global company, Chicago-based headquarters. We have 4 main businesses: nutrition, pharmaceutical, medical devices, and diagnostics. And we are operating in Qatar since more than 40 years. And my question to you?
I will have to leave because I have a live interview, and I will need to rush now, unfortunately. But I'm sure the Qatar U.S. Chamber of Commerce will provide you my email, and the question that you want to ask me, if you email me, I will respond to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We thank you very much, Mr. Al Baker. We look forward to hosting you in Washington again, and of course, flying Qatar Airways. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kush.
We will now move to our panel discussion with Jim Currier, President Honeywell, Aziz Koleilat from Vice President for Sales in Eastern Europe from GE Eastern Europe, CIS, Russia, Middle East, and Turkey from GE Aviation, and Omar Arekat, VP for Commercial Sales and Marketing, Middle East, Africa, and Turkey from the Boeing Company. That would be moderated by my colleague, Steve Lutz, Vice President for Middle East at the U.S. Chamber. So, Steve, let me turn it over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Kush, and what a great discussion there, and it tees us up well. I know all of the companies on the panel were referenced by His Excellency, so we look forward to hearing from each of our panelists. As Kush mentioned, we're joined by Aziz Koleilat, Vice President Sales, Eastern Europe, CIS, Russia, Middle East, and Turkey at GE Aviation. Now, Aziz has been with GE Healthcare. He led GE's growth strategy in Iraq and the Levant. He also covered GE Oil and Gas in Iraq. But we're really looking forward to hearing from him today from the perspective of GE Aviation in the position he currently holds. And we again thank GE for sponsoring today's event. Following Aziz, we'll go to Jim Currier, President of Europe, Middle East, Africa, India, Aftermarket at Honeywell Aerospace. Now, Jim is a member of Honeywell Aerospace's leadership team, and he's been with Honeywell Aerospace since 2006. So we look forward to hearing from Jim. And then Omar Arekat, also with us today from Boeing, a Vice President for Commercial Sales and Marketing, Middle East, Turkey, and Africa, a position that he assumed in May of 2019. And Omar has had many positions at Boeing. He's been with the company since 1997 and was previously Senior Sales Executive for the Middle East for over 10 years. So to get us started, again, we'll first come to Aziz, then Jim, and then Omar. I'd like each of you, if you could tell us about your relationship with Qatar Airways, and if you can provide an overview of the work that you're doing together, as well as speak about the collaboration during the pandemic and your aspirations for the future with Qatar Air. So we'll go first to Aziz, then we'll come to Jim, and then Omar.
Okay, Steve, first, thank you, and also Liz and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for this event. And first and foremost, I hope that everybody's safe, your families are safe, during these times. It's been really unprecedented, the world of aviation and lots of other things have been upside down. I don't think anybody expected, the things that we're facing. From a standpoint of the work that we've done with Qatar Airways, we've been lucky in the sense that they trust us, by selecting our engines, and lots of the work that we do also with Omar, Arekat, and Boeing on, the 777 freighters, the 787s, the Dreamliners, that we're talking, the 737s, the NGs. What we've done mainly with Qatar is really making sure that we support them on the ground. So we have a team that's there in Qatar at the airport. And at the same time, what we have in Qatar Science and Technology Park, we actually have a repair shop. So having that support ecosystem that we have in Qatar to make sure that we not only support them, if there are certain things that don't go exactly as we wish, but I think there was a question about, the hot and harsh environment. So having a team of engineers that sits actually with Qatar Airways on a day-to-day basis and seeing what are the challenges in this environment, taking it back to our engineering, and we do come out with some innovative ideas. One of them is a foam wash, making sure that we basically use certain chemicals to flush the engines so that again when you have the fuel burn gets better. So that also helps from a sustainability standpoint. And these are specific programs around Qatar Airways. But really, it's about creating a support ecosystem, with Qatar. That's the sort of what I call, the nuts and bolts. The digital part, we also work with them closely, talking about, flight pulse, giving them digital tools, analytics for the airlines to be able to look at each flight, how much they're using fuel, how efficient they are, all these type of, artificial intelligence, working with them to see which direction they're going in the future and making sure we're aligned. And the last part I would say that we work on is really training. We've had a good history in training around leadership and trying to exchange those views about, how do you work in an environment that's volatile? These are things that we can learn on both sides. We've had a tendency to think that the world is stable and consistently growth. But, this region, plus how we're growing, plus what's happening, really need to start to adapt within your management style and share the experiences between, as partners to be able to manage through these things. Look, there are other smaller things, but I don't want to take more time from my esteemed colleagues also to be able to share their thoughts. But really, in summary, it's an ecosystem around making sure safety, stability, efficiency, on the airlines. Second is the digital, the new age of digital, artificial intelligence, data management, etc. And third is really harnessing the training and working together on building a strong foundation of people, because at the end, it's the people that run everything, to the point that you've seen with Qatar and aligning with them going forward. These are the sort of three pillars that we work with them on. Okay.
Aziz, thank you for that. And it's interesting to hear about that close collaboration across a variety of areas, as well as where you hit the nail on the head on some of the future efforts going. Very, very interesting. Jim, over at Honeywell Aerospace, let's come to you with that same question. If you could, reflect on, where you've been with Qatar Air, and then where you see things going forward for Honeywell Aerospace with Qatar Airways.
Oh, absolutely, Stephen. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with everyone on the call and the U.S. Chamber for hosting this event as well. Our relationship with Qatar is very profound. It's a very strong business relationship between our company and Qatar Airways, not only in terms of the duration that our relationship has been with them, but also in terms of the broad breadth of products from Honeywell that are on, their fleet of aircraft, whether those are power systems, components, APUs, avionics systems, connectivity solutions that we have. It really allows us an ability to touch multiple elements of the fleet there through our products and services that we're able to provide. And that really has emboldened the relationship to look at further technological solutions in those particular areas between the two companies. So again, it's been a long-standing relationship over a period of time, as well as obviously the broad breadth of products that we have across their fleet. And that enables itself naturally to be able to collaborate across multiple fronts. And in particularly during the pandemic period that we've been in, we've really focused in two key areas around technology and innovation with Qatar, as well as in terms of their operational efficiency. You know, how did we manage with them through the downturn, and how are we managing with them through, you know, the recoveries that are starting to happen, although a prolonged recovery. And His Excellency made a comment earlier around technology and innovation and the usage of a recently introduced product from Honeywell into their operations, which is our UVC cabin systems cleaning product. I haven't seen an airline globally that I've been working with that has put such an emphasis and focus around the health and safety of passengers and employees. And they've been the tip of the spear in introducing various technologies to enable that health and safety aspect. And what we've seen also is, you know, the recognition of how the technology can be repeatable, reliable, and demonstrative to the flying public about what Qatar has been doing in terms of driving this health and safety awareness into their operations. It's not just something that's happening behind the scenes. They're exceptionally visible about what they've been doing in that regard. And it's not only with the aircraft. And you heard His Excellency mentioned as well about technologies that they've incorporated in their airport operations as well. And Honeywell, across multiple business units, not just aero-specific, has enabled some of those technologies to materialize in their airport in terms of environmental control system, cleanliness, managing traffic flow through digital analytics as well. And then in that way, we've been able to partner with them across not just the airline, but across airport operations, which has been an exceptional collaboration for us. And when we think about future collaboration with them going forward, it's always going to be around maintaining that high level of customer experience, that high level of service, continuing to incorporate future technologies and innovations in those particular areas that will drive the safety and health going forward. And whether that's going to be with, you know, improving sustainability through alternate fuels, alternate technologies to utilize sustainable fuels, whether that's incorporating different digital aspects around flight efficiency operations as well to reduce the carbon footprint. Those are other areas where we continue to collaborate with Qatar that we look forward to partnering on future technology innovations.
Jim, really interesting, and so it's fascinating to hear about how many technologies and innovations that the airline's embracing and working with Honeywell on. And to your point, the Skytrax, those 5-star ratings for COVID safety, it seems like Honeywell can share in the award that Qatar earned. So that's very fascinating. And last but certainly not least, Omar, you were invoked several times during His Excellency's comments. I would love to come to you to hear about, we know some of the history, but really where you see things going and the collaboration moving forward between Qatar Airlines and Boeing.
Sure. Thanks, Steve. And also thanks to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for getting us together today around this very important and strategic airline customer of ours. You know, as His Excellency alluded to, and as many of you know, Qatar is one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing airline in the world. And for Boeing, it is a great honor to be trusted with the task of enabling that growth by providing them with our airplanes and also the support to keep those the big fleet that they operate, and they keep growing, operating effectively and efficiently. You know, one thing that we need to emphasize and not lose sight of is it has really been very impressive how Qatar Airways has managed to navigate through this crisis. I mean, it was really surprising to us. They took a very bad situation and they made the best out of it. And we were lucky again to be part of the support for Qatar Airways during this period. Most of their operation, or most of the operation for Qatar Airways, has been during the pandemic has been done using Boeing products. So we were brought in to make sure that these products are well maintained and supported in a way where it is going to be efficient and effective for the airline to use it in the way that they were using it. Also, during the pandemic, Qatar Airways asked us to get engaged and help with looking at their utilization. They supported their cargo operation, I think, doubled during this period, which was extremely impressive. So as it was growing exponentially, they had to use a lot of their passenger airplanes to support their cargo operation. So which really put us both in a position where we navigated through the situation. And again, we were very proud of the outcome that Qatar Airways was able to achieve. And we're very proud of the fact that we were right there next to them. Now, as His Excellency alluded earlier, also with respect to our partnership, historical partnership with Qatar, when Qatar is a fast-growing leading airline, and when we develop new products, we usually get a lot of feedback and guidance from airlines, specifically like Qatar Airways, on the development and design of the new airplanes that we're bringing to market. So this is something that we will continue to do as we move into the future, and hopefully we will go past this pandemic and start focusing again on the growth that Qatar has been targeting. With respect to also other initiatives that we've been focused on with Qatar Airways, we partnered with them on when we launched a program to raise confidence for travelers, called it the Customer Confidence Travel Initiative, and basically touches on the elements that His Excellency was talking about, like the recycling the cabin air, the HEPA filters, making sure that we are connected with the regulators, the airlines, and all the constituents within the industry to bring together best practices so that we could bring back confidence in air travel. And again, we continue to partner with Qatar Airways, not only on the selling of the airplanes part, but also on servicing them. I mean, it's important when you operate a massive fleet like Qatar Airways, over 120 Boeing airplanes in that fleet. And they also not only depend on our product, but they depend on the reliability of that product. So we need to make sure that the right support is always in place to make sure that the operation is running seamlessly.
Omar, very interesting, and what you spoke to on the confidence in travel, again, so important going forward, and it's fascinating to hear about the close relationship that Boeing has. I know we're coming close to our conclusion, but since we have all of you here and you all each have really storied relationships with Qatar, I'd really like to get one more question in. Many of you, given what Qatar Air has done to support the global community during the pandemic, and given their growth strategy, many of you invoked kind of what you see in the future going forward. We heard about AI. There's been reference to sustainability and a lot of the green effort. Would really like to hear from each of your perspectives, and we'll come back to Aziz, Jim, and then Omar again, where you see, from your country's perspective, that future partnership with Qatar Air really growing into as we come through this period of economic recovery and hopefully getting back to whatever that next normal is going to be. But Aziz, where, if you had your crystal ball, where do you see really the future partnership growing into with Qatar Air and GE?
Look, I think it's around technology and sustainability going forward. I think these are the two key things, because by the sheer size and the reach that Qatar Airways has, they're a very good partner to be able to take a look at, long-haul hub discussion and with, even short-haul in the region. So really, it's around partnering with them in a very, very tough environment. If we can crack it together in an environment like is the Middle East, the rest will be easy. But really, it's really looking at that sustainability, like His Excellency said, and we are starting those discussions. But that is the way that we need to go forward. I think it's our responsibility, common as an industry, to make sure that, we hit our targets, from a sustainability standpoint as we go forward. So having a partner that is as committed and has the experience and has the reach and working together on the ground, whether it's also with fuel or hydrogen, other parts, you have that ecosystem to be really build something and test something and work on it together. Okay?
Very interesting, Aziz, and I think you hit many nails on the head there. Jim, coming to you with the same question. Obviously, a lot of what Honeywell Aerospace has done has been around innovation. Where do you see Honeywell and Qatar growing together?
I hate to say this, but I have to piggyback a little bit on what Aziz said there. It's going to be around technology and sustainability, two key areas of focus for Honeywell with Qatar. And Qatar being a partner that truly values sustainability, recognizes the criticality and the importance of it on a go forward, and is not just talking about it, but is acting upon it as well. And His Excellency made an excellent point, though. The technology is developed within the airframer and with the propulsion providers and with the power system providers on the aircraft. It's incumbent upon us as manufacturers and providers of this equipment to enable that technology going forward. And so I think along with that, with a strong partner like Qatar, to be driving the request and the need and the requirement for enabling those technologies and being an advocate for that will go very, very far in enabling those technologies to be able to move forward. And that's an area for us where we want to continue to partner with them as well. And as well as looking at as they continue to grow and expand and move into other markets and expand their destinations and maintaining their fleet, looking at other localization initiatives as they continue to evolve and where we can partner with them to further enhance their efficiency within their operations.
Jim, very interesting. I think hearing from all of you, it really underscores that nobody can hit those goals alone, that it really does require close collaboration and a partnership. Also so interesting to hear, I think all of you have referenced data, and as the Chamber, we care a lot about policy, so we know how important how policies, data is regulated, and having that cross-border data flow is so important to the industry and to each of your companies, I would imagine. So we actually kudos to the Qatari government. They've been pretty good in that space when it comes to regulating that. Omar, coming to you again on that same question, where you see your strategic relationship growing with Qatar going forward.
Yeah, I think going forward from this point on, as His Excellency alluded to, we're not out of the woods yet. So we need to make sure that when this is all said and done, that our partner Qatar Airways is all shored up and is on that trajectory that they have set for themselves pre-COVID, and will provide the necessary support that allows them to get to that point where they can get back and get on a recovery path. So that's number one. Number two, an airline like that is a healthy airline. It's an industry leader, and they're really based on the accolades that the industry has awarded to Qatar Airways. Qatar has been, a trendsetter in the industry, and I think that makes their input and feedback and guidance into our future product that we drive in our future products more and more essential. So we will continue to focus our partnership on developing, making sure that we have a partner and we get their feedback into what products we bring into the future.
Well, Omar, thank you, and you're absolutely right. We can't just assume that we're going to get through the pandemic. We all have to do our part and continue to come through it. But we know we will get there, and we will move to that new stage of recovery. I want to thank all of our panelists, Aziz, Jim, Omar. Each of your companies, again, have strategic relationship with Qatar Air, and we thank you for your support of the Chamber and our Qatar program, and congratulate you on the relationship that you do have with Qatar Air. So thank you for taking time out of your days to share your stories and some of the plans that you have going forward. Before I come back to Kush to close us out, I know I wanted to turn Rob Hager from chairman of our AmCham for a brief comment. I think somebody who probably frequently does use the airline, and then Kush to close us out. Rob?
Oh, thank you, Steve. And What a great day. It was wonderful to hear Mr. Akbar tell us the latest about the airline, and we're just very grateful as members of the American community to have Qatar Airways supporting us, and obviously all the great U.S. companies that work with the airline. So kudos to you, a great panel and a very good presentation today, and I hope to be flying Qatar Airways very shortly, either by the end of this month or early next month.
It's wonderful. Well, thank you. I know we are right at the allocated hour. Thank you, Rob, for those remarks and everything AmCham does. Great appreciation to Jim, to Aziz, and to Omar for the panel together with Steve. Thanks to our sponsor, GE, and of course to all of our friends at Qatar Airways and the US Embassy in Qatar for having made this event possible. It's important to note that as Qatar Airways expands in the US, each time Qatar Airways plane lands or takes off, it creates American jobs on the ground, in all of the ancillary services, and not least in those 17,000 odd small businesses of all sizes and technical areas that are part of the ecosystem that goes into making a large plane that Boeing manufactures. So, tens of thousands of people's and lives are benefited, not just in Qatar, but here in the United States by that. The Chamber looks forward to working very closely to document that because it's important to the overall relationship between the two countries that supports and underpins the broader relationship. The commercial relationship in many ways supports and underpins it at its most difficult times. So with that, Ambassador Holst, I see you and I'll turn it over to you if you have any closing thoughts, but appreciation again to you. But again, with Qatar Airways, we see this as the start of work because I think the US Chamber and all of our, half a dozen or a dozen rather, state and local chambers in each of the cities that Qatar Airways currently serves that joined on this, that will take this recording and broadcast it out, particularly for the folks on the West Coast where it was pretty early in the morning. We look forward to that partnership. The US Chamber is uniquely positioned to enhance the relationship in that respect. So Ambassador Holst, thank you, and over to you.
Thanks, Kush. And just really to say thanks to you, Steve, Liz, for setting this up. Akbar, who's like one of those people who only really needs one name, like Sting or Cher. He's such a force of nature that we were delighted to have him on even for a little while. So he's a great partner for all of us. I look forward to seeing you all again on the next event. Please come to Qatar when it's safe and when you can. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And we are now adjourned.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.